Still on the modalities for the National Conference, we're joined this morning by Dr. Femi Adegbulu, who is an associate professor in Redeemers University and also a security analyst. Thank you for coming this morning.
My pleasure to be here again.
Well, about this conference, we did say last week from all indications, it's a question of when now, not if it will hold. But in spite of the modalities released by the government, and people still have their views, of course, but have you bothered about any part or anything about this conference holding?
Yeah, actually, the idea of the conference itself is a very good one and a noble gesture to Nigeria in the first place. But where I have my fear and serious doubt is the no-go area, because if you are giving on this type of thing that we have been yearning for a very long time, it should be total. Because how can you say that an aspect of the conference is non-negotiable when you should be a no-holds-barred kind of thing? Because we want to discuss how we are going to live together, if at all we are to continue to live together. You see, we play the ostrich all the time, and that is the problem we have. We are never fundamental whenever we have something to do. And that's when I fear lies, that we are likely to make the whole exercise a jamboree. We just spend money achieving nothing. Because if you are spearing an aspect of this thing, maybe that's where lies the real problem of Nigeria. Okay?
How to
okay, yeah. When you say certain areas should not be discussed, it's non-negotiable. I wonder if what you are saying is non-negotiable is to be held as non-negotiable. How do we discuss the problem of Boko Haram, which is rooted in culture? How do we discuss the issue of what we call the quota system, which when you really put it down to real scrutiny is also rooted in culture?
But they say they can do that with the constitution amendment. If they say everything should be on merit.
All this while we have not been able to do. We are expecting that even the so-called National Conference will not actually have a life of its own without the Constitution being reworked.
Just a moment.
It depends on how the lawyers or whoever going to do it will put it. But the Constitution has to be fundamentally tampered with to be able to carry on with the new conference or whatever, to get Nigeria going.
Just a moment. When you say something is rooted in culture, what do you mean?
Now, individuals, for instance, who are saying that except we are ruled by Sharia, you know, the totality of the way of life of a people is culture. Religion is part of it. If Sharia is part of your culture that you want, nothing else, that's cultural.
But many states, have taken up Sharia and nobody has blinked an eye. Did it resort to violence?
Well, we know that there is a political Sharia, there is real Sharia. If somebody is implementing Sharia just to score some cheap political goal, we know them. When your party inaugurate Sharia, you yourself, Sharia does not affect your life. We know that's political Sharia. We are talking about real Sharia here, Malpe. It's not Sharia that somebody will throw up to his people just to be popular. We know all those things. When Yerima started the idea of Sharia, his lifestyle does not preach Sharia. So what are we talking about? We are not talking about political Sharia here. Sharia that will affect the lives of the people.
That's a very grave allegation.
Yeah, we all know him. We know, so he's been causing a lot of problem by marrying underage children here and there. Is that part of Sharia? That's what we're asking. Is that part of Sharia and many other things? So we don't talk about political Sharia. Sharia that is rooted in the religion of Islam that the people really want. Now, I told you the other time we were doing a channel forum when I was trying to give the beginning of Boko Haram. The original Boko Haram is rooted in religion. They want pure Islam practiced. Not only where they are, but by extension to Nigeria. Because why? The people who, the so-called leaders they have there, who also, some of whom practice Sharia, quote and unquote, you see, they oppress them. They steal the people's money. They use the same money to buy things and to oppress the people. And the people know that they are stealing this money, which is meant for them. And the legal system we have today, which is Western style, we just give them a pat on the wrist. And these who are saying, are reasoning that, look, if these people were to be brought under Sharia, they are either decapitated or amputated, as the case may be. And this thing is not happening. They want that pure Sharia.
Dr. Adegbulu.
That was how Boko Haram started before it becomes politicized that we all see now.
Now, exactly. So some people are now saying that how is it that you're still able to, remove what is political about Boko Haram and what is real about it? Because a host of people, a host of Muslims, many Muslims have dissociated themselves from the acts of Boko Haram as we know it. And they say that you cannot be asking for something and you're espousing violence as a means of getting it.
Yeah.
So how do we begin to differentiate that? You say they're asking for Sharia. Could they really be asking for Sharia through the means that they have chosen?
Thank you very much, Mark. That's where the confusion lies, because on a very good number of occasions I have said here particularly that look, we have three kinds of Boko Haram. We have political Boko Haram, we have religious Boko Haram, we have criminal Boko Haram. Now, how to decipher among these various Boko Harams is the task of government. We know those who have made statements. Some people have even been identified with sympathizing and empathizing with Boko Haram. We all know that. The long hand of the law seems to have caught some of them, but up till now we don't know what is happening. Some of them are in the National Assembly, and the government cannot deny that some of them are in the cabinet. So what are we talking about? The government knows those who are sympathetic to Boko Haram. Those are the financiers, and those are the sympathizers with Boko Haram.
Which Boko Haram is government fighting through the military now?
I said that's where the confusion lies. If the other time I was saying something which maybe did not get the attention of government. I said until we inaugurate a system that I call deterrence mechanism, so we are not getting out of the rigmarole. Because when you identify an individual as the enemy of the state, you do not deal with that person decisively and let the justice be done and let people see the justice being carried out. No, we are playing with we are playing the ostrich, like I have always said. Now, an individual, a lot of allegations then, and unfortunately, the press also, this whole thing is dying down because the press does not sustain the momentum. So when individuals were apprehended as having volunteered their house where Boko Haram do meeting and all this, so if that tempo, momentum had been maintained, we will still be discussing that today. Those people are still legislating in our National Assembly. So how do we treat such? It's not as if they have repented.
But the matter is still in court.
Is it? We know our court system for how long? Justice delayed, justice denied. For how long will this court things? With this kind of matter, be in court in America, when America identifies an individual and with an avalanche of evidence against the individual, will that person still be in court in America? Or will he have been dealt with or been made to confess his level of involvement, and all those who are both tangentially or directly connected, all of them would have been apprehensive when it comes to homeland security. They don't join with it.
Let's come back to this issue of no-go area, because that is how we got in here. And you say there shouldn't be a no-go area. We should and we must, as a matter of fact, discuss everything under the sun. And you brought the issue of Boko Haram, you brought the issue of the catchment and quota system, and you say these are some of the issues that must also be discussed. Why do you think this is important to what situation the country is at the moment?
Why it is important is that, in fact, it affects productivity. It affects national morale. Now, when somebody scores 60% or 60%, it's not admissible. Meanwhile, somebody who scored 12% is admissible in the same Nigerian institution. Now, what kind of what kind of nationalism or patriotism do you expect from the one who has 60%, is not admissible, he does not have entitlement to Commonwealth, whereas somebody with 12% has entitlement to Commonwealth? Do you expect the same level of patriotism from the same people? Obviously, it's no.
The analyst that spoke about this,
yes,
and we did ask him, look, what is he going to do?
I heard it.
He says that it's not going to happen again, and that they're working on ensuring that it's a thing of the past. Should we be hopeful?
Chamberlain, until I see the policy implemented, I have said it without number, you don't hold the statement of a government minister or a politician who comes here to tell you we are planning to do this. It's on the pipe, it's in the pipeline. You know, You know it, even all our rules that are dilapidated today, they are all in the pipeline. They have been in the pipeline for the past 10 years. We still know the state today. So until we see this thing implemented, Chamberlain play, that's to me, it does not hold. What we know now, I talk about.
But in fairness, you know, because he wasn't just making that statement in a vacuum. He was also predicating on certain things the government had done. Okay. And one of them was the Almajiri schools, which he had introduced to ensure mass education and ensure that people move on generally in terms of, you know, where the country is. Do you think that that kind of assumption or that kind of statement was out of place, considering what the government has put on the ground?
It's not out of place. Of course, he's here and he said something that was expected of him to say as a government minister. He has to defend his job. But we who are the sufferers of these things, we want to see them implemented before we believe whatever they are saying, because we are used to all these things about, because you know we are not just coming from abroad. We have been living here. We've heard such things over and over and over again. I still give a typical example of our roads. All of them will come here and tell you in another 6 months, Lagos Ibadan Express Road, you know, will be a thing of the past. We've been hearing this. No, one time another minister will come and tell you, oh, the money is here to be released. No, as far as we are concerned, we have done our own.
But what is being done on it?
I'm just giving you an example.
Do you